Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30. We'd like to begin this evening's meeting with the land acknowledgement. And the Akron Central School District acknowledges that we gather on the traditional lands of the Tonawanda Seneca Nation. We honor the contributions of the indigenous peoples past, present, and future, and with gratitude for the land as we continue to work together with a spirit of respect and understanding. This time, I would ask everyone to please stand and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to go into executive session, that we go into executive session for the employment history of particular persons.
Move.
Move.
Second.
Ms. Kaye, seconded Ms. Kafta. Questions, comments, discussions?
It's not working.
It's not. No, so engine for the last 2 months.
Oh, hang on.
I'm in favor.
You're thinking.
We can do a verbal.
Connor?
Yes.
Okay.
And that motion passes. We are in executive session at 6:32. We intend to return to conduct the remainder of our agenda no later than 7 p.m. Good evening. We're out of executive session at 7:06. We'd like to continue on with our regular agenda. And to start off, I would like to invite Mr. Esposito to introduce our mission movers.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to introduce you to Abigail Young and McKinley Sandville, who will read our mission statement first. Abigail, you first.
The mission of the Akron Central School District, a learning-centered community dedicated to the dreams of our students, is to ensure that each student realizes his or her unique human potential and contributes positively to society through a system characterized by
valuing the unique gifts and dreams of each person, developing all dimensions of each human being, advancing the knowledge, skills, and wisdom of each student, nurturing and respecting the dignity of each human being, cooperatively working to continuously create new realities.
All right. Each year, fifth grade students are asked to voluntarily write an essay focusing on their journey at Akron Elementary School. Those essays are then submitted anonymously to us, where we select 2 of the entries to be read at the Elementary Awards Assembly. This year, those entries chosen were Abigail Young from Mrs. DuPont's room and McKinley Sandville from Mrs. Guevara's room. Abigail and McKinley will share their reflections. Abigail, you're going to go first.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Young, and I am in Miss DuPont's 5th grade class. I'm here to reflect on my journey here at Akron Elementary. Over the last 6 years, I have learned so much and will continue to remember my time at Akron Elementary. A few special memories from Akron Elementary that I look forward to every year are our homegrown assemblies, Halloween parades, holiday class parties, and field trips. What I liked most about our homegrown assemblies are the funny performances each grade level does that also has something to do with stuff that class is learning. Also, I liked our Halloween parades because you got to show off your costumes and see what your fellow classmates decided to be for Halloween. Another thing I look forward to each year was the field trips. I will never forget our field trip to Ford Gum, the Erie Canal, the Power Vista, Mumford, the Strong Museum, and all of the end-of-the-year picnics. These are the things I look forward to every year. To all my fellow classmates here today, we're going on to middle school. We'll definitely remember all of our memories of elementary school as we carry them on to middle school and high school. Don't forget that all of us in the 2032 graduating class have each other's backs. We have many years ahead of us and lots of memories to make. We will never forget our memories from our past, present, and future. My advice for students that are still in elementary school is remember that every minute goes by fast, so cherish all of the memories from elementary school. You have lots of great teachers and principals that will always have your back. Make sure you always listen to your teachers and always try your best. Remember that everybody loves you. I will leave you today with this quote from Walt Disney: "If you can dream it, you can do it." Thank you and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Abigail. McKinley.
Good evening. My name is McKinley Sandville, and I'm from Miss Rara and Miss B's 5th grade class. I'm here to show my growth and memorable journey here at Akron Elementary. Over the last 6 years, it has been so much fun. It will be hard to forget all the memories I made. I have loved every minute as a student here at Akron Elementary. There are so many memories that make me laugh and smile, but unfortunately, I can only share a few. Here are some of my favorites. First, I will never forget the time when we had to video call to see each other and learn remotely. Second, I will never forget the balloons over Akron where we got to create our own balloon float and carry it around in the 4th grade Thanksgiving parade. Third, I will miss going on field trips like to the Power Vista or the Buffalo Zoo. Lastly, I will miss all the people I've met along the way. I would like to thank Mr. Esposito and Ms. Koss for planning all the fun activities and making sure we are safe and healthy. They do so much for us kids and teachers. To my fellow 5th graders in class of 2032, best of luck. Though we're saying goodbye to elementary school, the memories we made will last forever. Wishing you all the best through middle school and high school. May your future be filled with happiness, success, and all the things you love. To the students who come after me, I would like to give you advice for your future years or year. Do your best. You don't know what your future holds, so do it your best to make it a good one. Also, be kind. Kindness is the key to staying happy and having a lot of friends. Lastly, take in all the information you will learn. You don't know when you need it, and trust me, it will help you in the future. You don't know how much you're going to miss elementary school until you actually leave it, so try to enjoy it. I will leave you with one last thing. Here is a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. Believe it or not, you're awesome. Thank you.
Congratulations to McKinley and Abigail, and we hope this becomes a tradition at the Mission Movers final meeting each year in June.
It's definitely an amazing way to end the meeting, but girls, don't go too far because we really enjoy taking pictures here, so we'd like to get a family picture. But I just wanted to thank you for sharing your reflections and memories about the elementary school, and we look forward to all that you're going to accomplish in the years ahead in middle school and high school as well. All right, so we're going to come over here and take a picture. Thank you for being here.
This is the kind of thing that makes these meetings fun. Moving on to item number 4 on our agenda, presentations. Mr. Hennard from Lumsden and McCormick on our external audit.
Tough
Good
group
evening.
to follow.
I know you said something fun. You weren't talking about me, were you? We'll keep it short, though. It's fairly much the same information we've presented in the past. So we're here to talk about just the preliminary meeting to go through the planning aspects of your financial statement audit. So that will happen in a few weeks. So this first slide, just going over the overview, kind of goes through some of the things that we're responsible for when we conduct the audit. So there's an engagement letter. It's like 9 pages of tons of information. But essentially what that does in part is talk about our responsibilities, which we have to conduct the audit basically in accordance with 3 different rules. One of those being the generally accepted auditing standards. And that's just generally what we have to do in performance of the audit, independence reasons, what kind of things for tests and documentations. Because you're a government, you also must follow the government auditing standards, which is more requirements over independence, internal controls, and compliance. And then finally is the uniform guidance, and that is the single audit. So since you receive federal grants through New York State, we have to test some of those grants, and then the uniform guidance is what governs that those grants. We have to test specifically to those rules. The main point of the audit is we're expressing opinions on your financial statements, and those opinions are over each of the funds individually and the district as a whole. So as an example, we are given an opinion that your general fund is correctly stated in accordance with the government accounting standards, your school lunch fund, your special aid fund, all that stuff. Also included in your financial statements is what we call RSI and SI. That's required schedules, essentially. Some of those are required by the GASB, the Government Accounting Standards. Some of those are required by New York State. So those schedules are included there. Those will all be included. Management discussion analysis is the kind of highlight of kind of the main things that go on. We'll discuss that with management, get their opinions on some of those things and help them write that. The other schedules in there that are required by New York State specifically, we have to include the general fund budget, whether you're in compliance with that 4% unassigned fund balance. Any of your capital projects will be included. And then finally, the single audit schedules, which is, again, your federal grant funds. We'll also issue what's called a management letter. That's any information that has to do with internal controls, compliance, suggestions, recommendations, those types of things. So we did have 2 comments last year. If you recall, they were on your fund balance and your general fund and your school lunch fund. So we'll go through and follow up with those again. The good news is on the school lunch fund side, I think we presented this early on in the year last year. And right after we presented, the state SED said you could now have 6 months worth of expenses in your school lunch fund, and you were kind of in between that 3 and 6 months. So as long as that fund balance didn't increase too much, that one kind of goes away on its own this year. The next slide just goes through some scheduling. There it goes. This is the timing of the schedule. So we had a meeting with the business office a few weeks ago to kind of go through some preliminary things because there's been some turnovers to have that initial discussion of what's been going on, what's expected time frame. So the final field work we expect to happen beginning July 21st. That generally takes about a week. It might take a little bit longer than that, but that's the rough timeline. Based on that, we do expect to have drafts available around late August. It is dependent on New York State ERS pension system. They have to give us some data that is usually coming out early August. So if that's delayed by any length of time, that could delay your drafts. But once those are done, we'll schedule time to come out and present the final results of that audit. The next slide on the audit plan. This is a general overview of how the audit plan takes place. The big points in here are those bullet points 2 and 3. So we have to update our understanding of your processes and internal controls. That's more important this year because of all the turnover. We have to kind of update all those different roles, go through anything that's changed this year, any kind of different duties that have been switched from one employee or one title to a different title. Based on those changes, we'll kind of test additional things that may be of more risk because of that turnover. Not including those things, the next page does include the major areas that we have to test. These are the big ones that really every district gets tested. It's all of your revenue accounts, your state aid, your property taxes, your sales taxes. That's all your big revenue size funds there. That includes your state aid and general fund, plus all of your grants and special aid fund and the school lunch fund. The second bullet is your property and equipment. So we do look at your buildings and your fixed assets, all that type of stuff, about $53 million worth of all that. So we look at any major additions in relation to your capital projects is the main thing with that. And then we look at all of your outstanding debt and any new debt issuances and payments on that debt. One of the biggest expenses we look at is the payroll. So we do look at that analytically, making sure that we see an increase that is respective of the collective bargaining agreement. So that increases make sense with FTEs. We also look at your compensated absences. That's one of the bigger ones this year that is changing. That GASB 101 is a new standard for this year, so that will change your compensated absences calculation. So we'll help the business office with that and go through that, kind of make sure that gets implemented correctly. We also test the pensions and OPEB plans. Those are based on actuarial reports from this New York State and your other vendor. So we do read those, make sure those estimates are correct, and go through those. And then we also talk to your attorney. We do confirmations, making sure any kind of legal litigation items are disclosed if necessary. I mentioned uniform guidance already. That's your grant programs. And then finally, extra classroom is all of your student clubs that we have to test that and issue a separate report there. So there's various different reports we test. Those are the main items. This slide here is about materiality. So it's a reminder, we don't look at every single transaction of the district. That would take many months to do all that. So materiality is kind of what we use as an estimate of how much a transaction has to be for it's a large material item. And that changes drastically based on what we're looking at. So if we're looking at, say, capital assets in the district as a whole, that's over $50 million of assets. So about $1.7 million is what we say is material. On the opposite side of that, a custodial fund, for example, which is primarily extra classroom funds, is very tiny. So materiality there's about $7,000. So each fund has its own materiality and kind of range when we look at different transactions. This slide here is about the new accounting standards. This is an update. Both of these will be implemented for next year, 2026. 102 is certain risk disclosures, which is really just a footnote disclosure in your statements that if you have any major contingencies, constraints, concentrations that are going to negatively impact the district's financials, we have to disclose that. So we don't expect any of that to happen right now, but that's just something that we have to watch going forward. And then finally, GASB 103, financial reporting models. There's not much in there that affects the district's statements. The only one in there is that fourth line down, budgetary comparisons. You do have to include a schedule in your statements right now that compares your original budget to final budget and then final budget to your actual results. The new thing about that is going to be you have to include notes that explain why, if there's any significant variations. And so for significant, I would use that $1.7 million materiality number I said. I think it's around that range. You'll have to explain why that happened. So if you have any large variations, just be prepared. That will have to be disclosed in your statements going forward. The final slide here is just a kind of a summary of the required communications that will go through the conclusion of the audit. We'll go through any kind of major issues, major complaints, delays, adjustments, anything that was materially incorrect, we would let you know at that time. Anything like fraud, stuff like that, we tell you much sooner, but we don't expect any of those things. It's always been easy with the district working through everything, so we don't expect any issues at all. My information and the manager's information is on the last page. Email and phone number. If you have any questions from now until the audit, let us know. Reach out with any questions, concerns, or topics you want us to look into. But that's about it.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you so much for being here.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll solve it. Hearing of individuals and delegations, I do not have any pink cards. So moving on to item number 6, building and department updates.
Start with our administrative team.
Who's going to go first? Oh, looks like.
Oh,
We'll start with the youngest first. So the key word to our update is celebrating. There's been a lot of celebrating over this past week. Our UPK and kindergarten graduations took place. An incredible job in arranging and orchestrating the festivities by both our pre-K and kindergarten teachers. Several of them are here tonight, so let's give them a round of applause. It is a lot of hard work that they put into it, and we loved watching the students grow throughout the course of this year. The annual Akron Elementary Award Ceremony took place this past Friday. It was an awesome event celebrating so many accomplishments, including Most Improved, Citizenship, Art, Music, Phys Ed, Reading, and Presidential Awards. Finally, culminating with our 5th graders all walking the stage as elementary students for the final time. What an amazing group of students we will be sending to the middle school, Mr. Caprio. You'll be very excited. They're awesome. And finally, I know I'm going to be a little bit preemptive here. We as a school community couldn't be more proud to celebrate the highly anticipated, pending a vote, appointment of the next Akron Elementary School principal, Mrs. Caroline Koss. Pending a vote.
Good job, Mr. Esposito, and thank you for your 21 years of service here, too. We appreciate you, and we will miss you. On behalf of Akron Middle School, my only update really is that this year we had an 8th grade moving up breakfast, and we invited parents, family members to come to the middle school gym. We had Terra House cater it. We gave awards. We gave academic awards. We gave character awards, and I hope people enjoyed it. It's something that we want to continue every year. It was nice to have that many families come. We had 8th grade teachers present our awards, so it's something we would like to continue. With that, I need to thank 3 people. I need to thank Mr. Morello for always doing a great job, and I also need to thank Mrs. Kenline and Mrs. Pazdursky. We have excellent clerical here, Mrs. James included, but I could not live without Mrs. Pazdursky and Mrs. Kenline, so I just want to say thank you to them. Any questions? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. At the high school, obviously, we're preparing for our main event, June 27th at 7 o'clock. So hopefully the weather will be like tonight. It's a beautiful night. Just finished our reading exams today, our A2 exams completed this morning. So we're still grading some of those and getting the credentials ready for our kids' diplomas on Friday. Other than that, again, congratulations, Caroline and Todd. You know, we love you and we'll miss you as well. So other than that, any questions? Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Hello. Just a couple quick ones from me as well. We are gearing up for an exciting summer of professional development. A lot of our teachers have submitted to do some really exciting things over the summer to work towards bettering the work that I think is already amazing that they're doing, but that's exciting. Next meeting, I will have recommendations to put in front of you for our instructional coaches who will work to support the new goals of our strategic plan. Speaking of which, I'm very excited that the strategic plan and will be in front of you later this evening for a vote. And I just wanted to thank everyone who was a part of putting that together, students, teachers, staff, administrators, parents, community members. It was a heavy lift. It was an important piece of this year's work. And I think those who were a part of it, I hope are very, very proud of it. So I'm excited for you to vote on that today. Lastly, I want to congratulate Caroline. Caroline has been absolutely instrumental in any success I've had this year. So incredibly helpful, welcoming. She was one of the very first people that I met. She walked me back for one of my interviews. And I thought, I think we will get along well here. And I want to welcome Amelia as well. She will be in front of you for a vote later today as well, joining our Seneca language team. I'm really, really excited about her joining us as well. So welcome. Thank you.
Now, before you go anywhere, Mike, I don't know if this is possible. Are you able to pull up the under public content, under the administrative reports? We have a copy of the public-facing document of our strategic plan. And it's absolutely beautiful. So I just wanted to give Danielle credit and the committees that have worked on that. Tremendous amount of work and effort. Super proud of the detailed plans that live behind this public-facing document. But just really wanted to congratulate you, Danielle, in your first year of leading this rather large process. And just to give a little taste of what's going to be shared with the community, it gives an overview of the goals. There's very specific building level plans behind these goals, but it does a nice job of sharing the priority areas that our district has identified. And we did get permission from Dub for Honor to be on the front cover like that. So we're good with that.
She's hard to get, so it's a big coup.
But if you look at all the people that were involved in the process, it was quite the undertaking, and look forward to working through that plan and with that plan for the next 3 years to continue to modify and adjust. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, 3 departments. Food service has wrapped up. They've been serving breakfast and lunch to any of our exam kids that have been interested in participating this week, so they've now closed down for the year. We'll see them back in the fall. The maintenance department is gearing up for graduation right now, and then heading into summer cleaning. Capital project work obviously ramps up as well with the buildings being unoccupied for a portion of time, so that department has got a lot to do. Transportation, we still have a couple of buses running through Friday of this week, and we are prepping and planning for summer school. We just wrapped up. Every 3 years we have an audit by the DMV for our 19A driver files. That just wrapped up, and we were found to be in compliance for that. So that's a big one to have done. So ready for summer.
We have athletics and business.
The Akron Athletic Department just wants to congratulate and thank a couple people. Monday night, we held the 98th, I think it was, the annual NO League banquet. If you didn't notice, the Niagara Orleans League is the oldest league in Section 6. I found it out. But 5 coaches were honored here in our district for at least a minimum of 20 years of service. Bob Kowalik, 20 years at APOS, 20 years. Greg Bell, 22 years. Coach Gary Sundown, 24 years, and Nancy Bennett, 29 years. So congratulations to all those coaches for serving our student athletes well. And like Mr. Caprio, I want to thank this administration staff for putting up with me for this first year in this new role as athletic director and middle school assistant principal. Congratulations to Caroline and Todd. They've helped me along the way. My mentor, Steve Dimitrov, I know he's probably tired of me calling him 5 times a day since July 1st. And my other one, who's not my mentor, but he's right across the hall, but he is my mentor, is Joe Caprio. And I would just want to echo him. You know, we have a unbelievable clerical staff, and I wouldn't make it without Wendy Pazderski and Emily Kenline. Both of them, you know, Wendy might be the athletic secretary, but Emily does a fantastic job of serving me and serving Joe together. So I just want to say thank you to all of them. And the last thing to say is we plan for fall sports. Our soccer program will be at Akron Falls Park, at Skyline entire. We're working with the Newstead Town Hall, they're serving us as we get ready for this project. And so part of our athletic programs will be up there participating in both practice and athletics. Any questions? Go Tigers.
And from the world of business, you got a sneak peek already into some of what we're working on now with the visit from our auditors. They'll be here in July. As Seth mentioned, we have our prep work well underway there. As mentioned several times, we have, including myself, a new team, with the exception of Sue Brewer, and I want to specifically thank Sue for not only doing her duties as our treasurer and every day in a phenomenal way, but for helping myself and the entire team out. Currently we're in one of the most busy times of the year, getting purchasing ready to set up and ready to go for July 1st for the new fiscal year, getting things in our financial system ready to go, still running payrolls and getting ready for the audit, as well as things with the capital project. So a lot going on in the business office. And also thank you to the entire administrative team for your patience with me and the team this year. And special thanks, Todd, and congratulations to Caroline. Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Mr. Esposito, you're one of the first people I got to know when I first got on the board. It's been a pleasure working with you for the last 15 years as a board member. And Caroline, looking forward to the next, how many?
At least 30, I'm
At least 30, is what I've been told. So, thank you very much. Moving on now to the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to flip the order of my report just a little bit here before we get into the highly anticipated conversation on internet-enabled devices. Just a couple of other acknowledgements that I'd like to make. First off, in order of business, we have been asked by the 4th of July Celebration Committee to use our parking lot once again. That group does not carry their own individual insurance, but all of the cars who would be on our property do carry insurance. This is something that the board we've asked, and the board has graciously granted every year for that group to use the parking lot. We don't need a formal vote, just making sure that the board is comfortable with that.
Secret ballot?
I want to take a moment and recognize the leadership of the Akron Faculty Association. I'm very excited to recommend a contract to the Board of Education that you'll see later in the agenda. That was truly a wonderful process, and I am proud of the results that we've created as a team. We used a different process than has been done in the past, where we collaborated, had conversations on things that were working, things that weren't, and put our heads together to identify solutions. Very much appreciate our AFA and the leadership for their participation and support in that process. I need to formally now, I've been avoiding it for several meetings here, recognize Todd and his retirement and officially thank him for his 21 years of service to the district. But beyond that, I thank you for your mentorship at times, for your friendship, for all that you have done for our school and community. Mr. Esposito loves every single individual child in our elementary school, and he radiates that love each and every day. It is a tremendous loss for our district, even though we have an amazing individual to fill your shoes. Your legacy will continue to live on here forever, and I've added you to the sub list, so thank you. And we have several retirees. It's it's bittersweet, right? As I look over there at Best and the individuals that are leaving us, the culmination of the years of service to this district and everything that you've added to our school culture, irreplaceable. So just thank you to all of our retirees for their service. We do have a couple of exciting things to celebrate today. I want to take a moment and recognize Mrs. Caroline Kotz. We are so incredibly excited to recommend her appointment as our next elementary school principal. Mrs. Kotz has contributed so much to our district over the years. She has been not only the assistant principal at the elementary school, the middle school, the high school. She stepped up and became our director of curriculum and instruction during an interim position there. The hats and the roles that she has filled, from DEIB to leading a literacy charge at the elementary school, are too numerous to list. I sent a survey out to our school community asking for what quality characteristics they were looking for in their next principal, and I was absolutely blown away, but not surprised, with the number of individuals that didn't really answer the question. They just said, hire Mrs. Koss, hire Mrs. Koss. First time I had somebody mentioned by name in a survey like that. We are so incredibly excited and proud of you. You're probably one of the hardest working, most naturally gifted and talented administrators that I have ever worked with, and we are so lucky to have you. She knows every student by name. She knows what their strengths are, what their challenges are, and she genuinely loves them. She's probably already crying because her love for them is so genuine. And if you are here tonight because you work with Mrs. Koss or feel supported by Mrs. Koss, can you just take a moment and stand for just a second? So, Caroline, this is just a small representation of the hundreds of individuals that you impact every single day. And I'm sure your family is incredibly proud of you. To your parents, you have raised an incredible daughter, and we are so lucky to have you. So congratulations, Caroline. Well, it's a little up in the air at this point, so you might want to wait just a moment. But no, by all means, if you'd like to say something, you can.
I know you still have to vote, so I just want to thank the board for the opportunity to lead this amazing school. It is so incredibly humbling to be a part of this community, and everybody that knows me know I cry about everything, so I apologize for crying. I'm just so humbled and grateful for the opportunity, and my parents, Frank and Nancy, who are here, I wouldn't be here without them, and my brother, who's watching from New York City, and my amazing husband, Steve, and our two kids at home, Claire and Charlie, who are 5 and 3, and you definitely did not want them here tonight, but I know they are definitely part of the Akron family, and my extended Akron family that's all here. I'm overwhelmed that you guys are here on your first night of summer, really, and I'm just so grateful. So I just want to say thank you, and this is obviously very bittersweet for me because I no longer get to work with my best friend. So I am just so grateful to Todd for your mentorship and for taking a chance on me a long time ago, and I'm just so grateful and wish you all the best in retirement, but I hope you answered my calls in time. So thank you so much.
Another recommendation on your agenda tonight is the appointment of Amelia Sundown. Amelia is here with her family. Amelia, who did you bring with you?
A bunch of people. My sisters, my uncle, my brother-in-law, my cousins.
She she said, is it all right if I bring like 10 people? I'm like, absolutely, bring 10 people. I am very excited to recommend Amelia as for a new position that is multiple years in the making, a Seneca language teacher that will focus on initially our middle school students, but then also eventually impact our elementary students. Amelia did such an incredible job in the process. One of the things that will always stand out to me during your interview is when you shared how beautiful your culture is. And you specifically said, our culture is so beautiful. It would be such an honor to teach our students about it. And that really stuck with me. We're very fortunate. The need to teach Seneca language is so critical. And I am so appreciative that you're here and willing to work with us on this. So thank you and congratulations. I also wanted to recognize Christy Pigeonator, who is not here this evening. She has served on our Board of Education for the last 3 years, and she has been a tremendous board member, a true champion of students, and has led in her role with heart and conviction for always doing what's right for our kids. And whether that's advocating at our local level or on the state level as part of a legislative team, she was always giving and doing more for our Akron community. So just wanted to formally thank Ms. Pigeonator for her service and wish her well, and we'll miss her on the Board of Education. So thank you to Christy. Okay. One more order of business before we move on to internet-enabled devices. Just wanted to make note that later on in the agenda, you will also see a revised student-teacher calendar. This is the result of what is anticipated to be approved, our AFA contract. It will adjust the start date for our faculty and staff for the return to school last to the Wednesday, Thursday last week in August, but then it also, the impact on families, it expands the winter recess. So if everyone could just make note of that when you're making your plans around our calendar. And that is, an example of that is later on in the agenda if you want to take a closer look. Okay, now internet-enabled devices. I want to start with sharing information about the process that we have taken with this state mandate. And Mike, can we actually start with the other presentation? I just want to share a little bit of background about the work of our Policy Advisory Committee. So the goals of our Policy Advisory Committee were to bring several community members together, students, teachers, parents, administrators, to talk about creating a policy that meets that state mandate, to learn, to review feedback from our community. We participated, or we sent out a survey to our community to collaborate and to shape a district policy that best meets our needs within the legislation that exists. So to give everyone a little bit of background, if you're not familiar with this new law, but there's a requirement that every school district publish a policy prohibiting the use of internet-enabled devices by students during the school day anywhere on school grounds. This is a brand new law. School districts are required to engage with stakeholders, including employees, unions, parents, students, in its policy development. So internet-enabled devices includes not only smartphones, but tablets, smartwatches, and any other device capable of connecting to the internet and enabling a user to access social media. Non-internet devices, such as district-issued laptops or cellular phones that are not enabled to connect to the internet, are still permissible. So for example, the old flip phone style, I'm not sure how many of those are around, but those would be permissible through the mandates of the law. It is required that the mandate remains in effect for the entire school day, so from bell to bell. And it's very important to note, we received quite a bit of feedback on our survey that individuals felt that students should have access to their cell phone during homerooms periods, lunch, recess, study halls. Those were explicitly listed in the law as not being allowable or an allowable time for individuals to utilize their cell phone. It is a bell-to-bell restriction, and that is anywhere on school grounds. We are required to identify ways that students and parents can connect with each other if there is a need during the course of the day, as well as our policy is required to explain how students can store their internet-enabled device or their phones during the course of the school day. There are exceptions to the restriction, and that includes for educational purposes. So if a teacher or an administrator says, hey, on this field trip, it's okay to utilize your cell phone, or for a specific project, it's okay to utilize your cell phone, the policy is required to allow for that. For student health-related needs, emergencies, translation services, legal protections, a student cannot be banned from using their device if it is part of their IEP or their 504 plan or their individualized health plan. So as I mentioned, we sent a survey out to our school community. We had 249 individuals respond, and you can see the breakdown. The majority of those who responded were parents. Students also had a strong voice in this survey. 8% of the responses were from staff as well as a singular community member. The grade levels of the students are shown on this chart. So the majority of those that responded to the survey are our current 8th and 9th graders heading into 9th and 10th grade. And the faculty and staff who responded identified which area or building they worked in, the majority of which worked in the high school. Of the parents that responded, you can see the breakdown of how many were elementary parents, high school parents, middle school parents. And we saw some consistent themes in the survey results that we administered. Many parents and students emphasized the need for students to have access to their phones in an emergency. And the specific scenarios that were identified in the survey were lockdown, health crises, after-school pickup changes. Some referenced using their cell phones for health monitoring and for tracking student location. So multiple parents said that they rely on their child's cell phone to identify where they are located, such as a Life 360 app. There was a significant concern from parents about their ability to connect with their child quickly due to changing schedules, sports, pickups, family emergencies. Parents and students note that phones in the office could lack privacy, so that is something important for our building administrators to be sensitive to, that there would be a need for private locations for personal conversations between a student and a parent. Respondents want clear storage solutions. They do not want ambiguous solutions. Concerns existed about device loss or theft or damage if collected by a school member. Some suggested, actually many suggested, allowing access during non-instructional times, lunch, study halls, and in between classes. Currently, the law does not allow for that, as mentioned. Repeated requests for fair, consistent enforcement of the rules across all grade levels and classrooms. Some parents worry about loopholes or uneven application, suggesting clear consequences for violation, and also calls for adults to model the appropriate device use as well. Student well-being and anxiety, both parents and students expressed anxiety about not having that immediate connection through a cell phone. Special circumstances were identified, such as health needs, family responsibilities, and even language barriers, and asked for consideration for translation services. So suggestions for policy design: allow limited use for emergencies, provide private spaces for sensitive calls, use technology for messaging opportunities. And I know Mr. Hill isn't here, but I really want to thank him for the research that he's done in identifying technology that would allow, through an app-like device on our Chromebooks, for students to be able to communicate with their parents during the course of the day if it was needed. So as a committee, we framed our conversation around what items are state mandated and what items there is local decision-making around. So the mandated pieces that are out of our control, devices must be restricted during instructional hours. Exceptions required for IEPs 504 and documented needs applies to all internet-enabled devices, including phones and smartwatches, must be clearly communicated to all families and staff. Where there is some flexibility in local decision-making is how and where the devices will be stored, multi-tiered consequences for violation, communication systems for parents during the day, and staff and student support and resources in the rollout approach. We also had an administrator from another district, Jason Jacobs. He's the principal at the middle school, high school in Holland, and he shared his experiences in transitioning to a cell phone-free school day. Overall, the experiences of his district were positive. He recommended to us that we give students a little bit of grace in the beginning as they are adjusting to the new policy. We also had legal representation there from Nate Kuzma. He's our district legal counsel to help us to consider what is within our district's legal authority to put within our policy. And then all the individuals who were at the meeting were divided into 4 different groups, and they did a deeper dive into storage solutions, response to violations, parent communication, as well as support systems and staff needs. There was also an opportunity, anything that wasn't discussed or considered, to share feedback through, why am I drawing a blank? QR code to share, which you ironically needed your cell phone to do, to share your information about the policy. So from a timeline perspective, where we are currently is we had our policy advisory committee meeting. We took that feedback and we have created a draft policy that is on the board's agenda for a first reading. That is not a final policy. It is a draft. There is an opportunity to make changes and revisions, and we want to hear more feedback. We have a button on our website for our community to share that feedback. As well as we are going to have a town hall style meeting on July 8th at 6 o'clock in our MPR. So we'll put out press releases on that opportunity as well. So I'd like to share a little bit about what was created within the framework of decision-making that we had. And as you walked in today, if you wanted to pick up a copy of the draft, it is there for your reading. So the general policy is students are prohibited for using their internet-enabled devices during the day from the first bell to we identified the last bell as 8th period, with the understanding that we have an activity period 9th that many students stay after for, but allowing for more discretion of individual teachers and cell phone utilization during that 9th period. As part of the mandate, we do need to just restrict the use during non-instructional times, such as homeroom, lunch, recess, study halls, and passing time. We needed to define internet-enabled device, so that includes smartphone, tablets, smartwatches, or any other device capable of accessing the internet or social media platforms. This does not include district or BOCES issued devices for educational purposes. At the elementary school, Mr. Hill has been doing quite a bit of research on appropriate lock boxes that are easy for the teachers to use if there was a need. So at the upper grades, there would be a locked location in the classrooms for students to lock up their devices if they brought it in. But we also identified that there might need to be an additional lockbox in the elementary office if we did have a younger student happen to bring one in. At the middle school and high school, the devices are to be stored in a locked locker during the course of the school day. This is the current practice already at the middle school. So there are exceptions to the policy when authorized by a teacher or administrator, healthcare needs, emergency, translation services, student caregivers on a case-by-case basis, when required by law, as well as IEPs and 504 plans that do require the utilization of that technology. Methods of communication for parents to contact their child during the school day. Locations within the office to make phone calls, as well as an opportunity for parents to email or call the office staff if they have an urgent message that needs to get to their child. As well as I mentioned, Mr. Hill has been working very hard on this, identifying an EdLaw 2D compliant, protects personal information, a tool that would allow for students to message their parent from their Chromebook, and then on the parent end, it would look like a text message that would appear on their cell phone. The group that focused on enforcement and consequences identified first offense would be a warning, second offense, device confiscated, parent notification, returned to the student at the end of the school day. The third offense and beyond, device confiscated, parent notification, and then returned to the parent. Refusal to comply. If a student's refusal to comply multiple times, it may result in an individualized plan for that student that could include a storage pouch or a lockbox on a daily basis. The law does stipulate that you cannot suspend a student for failure to comply, but you can suspend a student for insubordination. Obviously, we do not want to suspend our students. We want them in their classrooms where they have access to their learning. Training and communication. Obviously, we need to provide some training or some information sharing with our students. We need to notify our parents on the change in policy prior to the start of the school year. And we also need to provide some support for our faculty and staff to share what the expectations are of them and how to be consistent with this process across the classrooms and grade levels. So there is an annual reporting requirement as part of this process that districts must report any disciplinary data associated with cell phones, so our policy identifies that. And we are required to include any demographic disparities in the enforcement of this policy. New York State has not identified, though, what demographics specifically they are looking for, but that is a requirement. If a statistically significant disparate enforcement impact is identified, we must include a remediation plan for our district as well. And all of this information needs to be very public-facing on our school website. So I know that was a lot of information to share with you. I am very grateful and thankful to all of the individuals who responded to the survey, who participated in the Policy Advisory Committee. I know that this is not a policy that is going to make everybody happy. There's going to be very strong feelings about this on one side of the issue or the other. So we are creating an approach to be as collaborative as we possibly can be within the confines that we are given with the process. So that was a lot of information to share. And I noticed that didn't get applause. But does anybody have any questions about process, policy, next steps? All right.
I don't see any.
Well, that concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. And again, just for everyone, the town hall meeting will be July 8th here at the multipurpose room at 6 p.m. So please, if you have comments or would like to just get a better understanding of what's going to be going on, please join us for that town hall meeting. Moving on in our agenda to board policy development, agenda item number 8. Where are we here?
Yep.
That was
So no
our,
action, just a first reading.
the first reading, yes, of our enabled devices. Personnel, do we have anything important to discuss there, or can we just kind of skip over that?
I think there's a whole
No?
bunch of
No?
people
Okay.
who've waited a long time in this audience to be able to applaud the next, the vote here.
All righty, moving on to item number 9 in our agenda, personnel. Please bear with me while I get to the end of the list. There we go. Item 9, personnel, is the recommendation that the Akron School Board of Education, upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, does hereby approve personnel items, consent items 9A through 9Y.
Move. Motion.
Move, Ms. Kafta?
Second.
Second, Ms. Kaye?
This is the suspenseful part of the meeting.
Why did it not go on? That was weird. That should have gone up.
Oh, no, the system went down.
Maybe we can do a verbal to make it official?
Yep.
Let's do it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations to everyone on our list.
She's gonna be crying for days.
Oh, this is a good meeting. District items, item number 10 on our agenda. Recommended course of action is that the Akron School Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, does hereby approve district items, consent items 10A through 10K. Moved. Moved, Mr. Messina?
Second.
Second, Ms. Kafta.
Let's do it verbally.
We're going to vote verbally. All those in, any comments, questions, or discussion? Are we going to try it again?
Yep, let's give it a try.
Let's give it a try.
Give it a try.
Whoops. Oh, okay. Hey!
All right.
And our motion passes. Very nice. Thank you.
I know. This group here more often.
Moving on to board item number 11, bond resolution. A bond resolution dated June 25th, 2025 of the Board of Education of the Akron Central Schools District, Erie, Genesee, and Niagara Counties, New York, hereafter the district, authorizing 1, the purchase of school buses and similar vehicles and related equipment for use in the transportation program of the district, including A, 2 66-passenger buses at an estimated maximum cost of $170,000 each, and B, 2 van-type vehicles used at an estimated maximum cost of $107,000 each, which such estimated maximum cost reflecting the value of any trade-ins, and 2, the issuance of serial bonds of the district in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $554,000 to finance such purchase, and delegating the power to issue bonds of anticipation notes in anticipation of the sale of such bonds to the President of the Board of Education of the district.
You should read the bottom part.
Mr. Sino's a comedian.
Which bottom part? That is the Reader's Digest version of the bond resolution. At this time, I would entertain a motion.
Moved.
Move, Ms. Kaye, thank you.
Second?
Second, Ms. Tirsina. We're going to try it again.
It's up.
Oh, yes, it is. And that passes. Thank you very much. Item number 12 on our agenda is special education. The recommended action is that the Akron Central School Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, does hereby approve special education items, consent items 12A and 12B.
Moved.
Move, Ms. Kaye.
Second?
Second, Mr. Sina. Comments, questions, discussions? And the motion passes. Thank you. Item 13, board discussion. Short list of discussion items, that being the Board of Education self-evaluation that we just completed. Everyone should have received a copy of their comments. This will be used as a basis during our board retreat to take a look at what we as a board can do better. And this is a process that we started last year using Super Eval. It's a program that's available to us through BOCES, and it gives us each the opportunity to look at our actions in a variety of different areas and to be sometimes brutally honest about how we feel we're doing. And I'd like to thank everybody who participated and provided comments, and I'm sure we'll have more to discuss as we move on. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to bring up at this time?
Just like to share that we had the privilege of meeting our student board members, our future student board members earlier today, and we're super excited. I see at least one of them in the back there is Audrey.
They're
There's
both- yeah,
Audrey.
they're both
Hey, they're all there.
They're
If you
all
guys
here.
want to just stand up for a
Yeah.
second?
They've already come up with their own nickname.
They did.
Since we have Alex, Austin, and Audrey, we now have members of the A-team who will be joining us starting next month.
So we're super excited to have such talented and wonderful students working with us on the Board of Education.
Item number 14 on our agenda this evening is school board correspondence. We have several things that are coming up here in the immediate future. On Tuesday, July 15th, the legislative subcommittee will be meeting at Erie One BOCES beginning at 6:15. On Thursday, July 17th, our student ex officios training will take place also at Erie One BOCES beginning at 9 a.m. and ending just a little bit after noon. On Thursday, July 17th, Boards and Brews at the Hamburg Brewing Company at 6:15. That's actually professional development for the board members. Friday, August 1st and Saturday, August 2nd, the New York State School Board Association Leadership in Education Conference will be held at the Crowne Plaza in Albany. On Tuesday, August 5th, we will be having our Akron Board of Education retreat beginning at 9 a.m. And on Wednesday, August 6th, the 2025 Western New York Law Conference will be held. If you are interested in attending, please see Ms. James this evening for registration. Upcoming dates, some of you may be interested. Friday, if you're not otherwise busy, we have graduation in the auditorium. Board members, we are asked to be present in the boardroom by 6:30 to get ready for that. And then Wednesday, July 9th, will be our next reorganizational meeting here in the high school cafeteria beginning at 7 p.m.
It's actually going to be moved to the MPR, correct?
Oh, shoot, yes, it is.
Okay.
Because our capital project construction is starting already with the revitalization of the H
Entrance,
wing of
okay.
our high school.
All right, so we will be in the
MPR.
multi-purpose room. Okay, very good, thank you. Item number 16, at this time, I would ask for a motion to go back into executive session to discuss the employment history of a particular person.
Moved.
Move, Mr. Sina.
Second.
Second, Ms. Kaye. That motion passes. We are back in executive session at 8:11. We do not anticipate conducting any additional business after the completion of this executive session. I'd like to thank everyone who is in attendance this evening. Congratulations to all of our new appointees, all of our new teachers, everyone who has helped make Akron the place that we have all come to love, which is why we are all here to begin with. So thank you all very much. This is our last official meeting of the school year. We will be back on Friday. We look forward to seeing you all again next year. Thank you very much.